Hello, we are recording. We don't know what we're talking about today. We're just chatting
Yeah, we are chatting.
about
And
anything.
yeah, I feel like my brain has been taking a, huge just like a time off.
Yeah.
Like time off. I went on vacation and I just put my brain on hold. Uh and maybe I can blame Mercury retrograde a little bit. Maybe. Why not?
I think so. I think so. Use it if you got it, you might as
Yeah.
well.
And Venus has been retrograde. We've had a lot of retrogrades. So we thought we maybe we'll talk some about that today, about like clarify what a retrograde is, how to sort of use it, how it can show up in your life, and
I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm just fascinated with retrogrades and leaning into the surrender that comes with them. I think there's a lot of surrendering. Humans have such an urge to, I don't know, control or plan things, and I think the retrogrades are there to for us to knock that shit off.
Yeah.
No, you can't plan everything. No, you can't control everything.
Mm.
Let it go.
Mm.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. It's
I feel
Mercury
like
retrograde.
yeah, I feel like when I left, I think Mercury retrograde this time around started about 2 days before I went on vacation. And I knew it was happening, and things started to, hit shit started to hit the fan at work, as usually when you're working with computers and technology, which most of us do.
Yeah.
And but I told my colleagues, and just so you know, this is gonna happen now. Just relax, and they're like, oh, it helps to hear that, and I feel like it
Right?
helps for me too. Like it will happen either way. So the best way is to just stop being rigid about it. The worst thing you can do is to be rigid and like
Yes.
things are not happening as planned. Fuck, and like get in
Yeah.
your head about it. The best thing is just to just let it pass and think, okay, well, that didn't go as planned. I knew that something was not going to go as planned. Like that's sort of the plan, that things don't go as planned. And just flow with it. That's all you can do. You don't know what's going to come down the river, and
I
you
love
just
that.
have to really flow, even though it might not be the ideal outcome or the ideal whatever.
Right.
But like you said, that's what it's here to teach us about flexibility. And Jessica Lanier said something really good the other week about retrogrades. It's like she said something like, this is not a exact words what she said, but she said something like, you can't control, what Mercury retrograde whatever it does to you, but what you can control is your reaction to it.
Yes.
So yeah, and I've been thinking about that and thinking that actually I've been reacting pretty bad usually to when these things happen. I get a little rigid and like, oh, damn, and like in my head I'm like cursing and like,
Yeah.
mm. And but that really stuck with me, and it's like, yeah, I can just choose how to react to it. I don't
I
have
love
to
that
react like
for you.
that.
I love that for my
Yeah,
Capricorn friend.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah, because
And
that's what we
that's
can control, how to react.
exactly. And that's the beauty of understanding the nature of your chart, right? Understanding the energies that you personally live with. Some people do get more rigid and judgmental about things that don't flow the way they think they should, right? And then some people like me are just like woo all over and have no problem to dance around and change and be flexible. It's just that's the beauty of knowing your chart and really leaning into those energies and going,
Mm.
ooh, in the past, my normal response would be to get angry about this or to be upset. And now, as I'm learning astrology, learning about me, I need to learn to surrender or flow or whatever it is. I just had a conversation with my Capricorn mother right before we got on here. And
Mm.
our exchange student we had when I was 17 from Germany is coming to visit our family with her daughter, who is the same age as my daughter, Gertie, who's just almost 12. And so they're coming the end of September for 2 weeks. And my mom just gets like more rigid about this, right? There's just like this
Mm.
angst that shows up whenever there's travel or whenever people come to visit. There's this initial angst, and eventually she surrenders and she's fine. But the initial change in life direction, right, causes this anxiety. People like to label that. And
Mm.
mom, 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 take a lesson from your daughter with 5 kids. Surrender. Just surrender. Like you can't just surrender, mom. Just let it go. Let it go. I'm going to play that song for you all the time, mom. Just let it go. So, literally a half an hour ago, we were having this conversation about surrendering the control
Mm.
that we tried to hang on to so rigidly. Okay, I have to tell
Yeah.
you about a Mercury retrograde story that I thought was hilarious. So, mom came over the other day. She's sitting and having tea. She had just gone to the foot doctor to get a toe checked out that's got some inflammation and stuff. And she said, Laura, do you know what's going on with this healthcare system in our town? And I said, no, I haven't heard anything. What's happening? She said their entire computer system recently got hacked, and they have to do everything by hand. Everything.
Oh my God.
Their entire computer system is down. They can't access anybody's files or records, any appointment times or anything. And they're all having to do everything by hand, which just makes me giggle because it's such a Virgo thing that a
Yeah.
healthcare system, computer system would fail during a Mercury retrograde. And I'm over here giggling away. And my mom's like, why is that funny? I was like, because I know the astrology. And
Yeah.
I grew up in a time before computers when this was normal. Like
Yeah.
when people did do everything by hand. So like that, if you're 40 or over, you remember life like that. You remember that.
Mm.
And if you're, under that, you don't know a time when people didn't have computers when you logged in, at the dentist or the whatever. So
Mm.
she said it was very interesting watching these 20-something ladies at the checking counter trying to do
Do
everything by
everything by
hand.
hand.
I thought it was so comical.
Whoa.
Uh,
Yeah, what a like lesson for. I hope that they, I mean, I don't know what the lesson is there for them or what to like reflect on, but it will be something because it is with Mercury retrograde, or maybe with all retrogrades actually, it's about reflect. Hang on, it's 5 re's. Reflect, re.
I
Anyway,
my brain's
so
like, I
you
got nothing.
yeah, you think things over pretty much. You have a chance to yeah, to rethink and reflect and reevaluate pretty much
Yes.
and make new decisions like what worked, what didn't work, wait, why am I doing this, maybe I need to do it in another way. And
Yeah.
like um obstacles like that are the interruptions you might need to
To fix the
get your
system.
brain thinking in a new way.
Yeah. Yes. This is an entire healthcare system that has several hospitals and many, many clinics in our area. And I shouldn't laugh at it, but at the same time, like, what else are you going to do besides?
Yeah.
You could I mean, I'm sure people are getting real upset about it. I'm sure there's plenty of higher ups in the company that are real, real mad. And part of me is like, do they know it's Mercury retrograde in
Mm.
Virgo? In
Yeah.
Virgo? Like, which just to me is so interesting, being this energy of analytical, data keeping, organized, healthcare, being of service, all of this Virgo energy, and their computer system crashed. Oh, it's like, do you
Oh
know
my
the word?
God.
Do you know the German word Schadenfreude?
No.
It means
Schadenfreude.
happiness at the misfortune of others.
Is that what you're
It's
experiencing right now?
it's what I'm experiencing. It's why we laugh at people when they fall at the
Yeah.
Olympics or whatever. Like it's because it's funny.
Yeah. And the
I
thing
don't
is, yeah,
know
like
what it is. I'm
what are you
quite
gonna
laugh
do?
happy too.
Like you can either you can get really upset, like really upset and just be
Yep.
upset pretty much, and that's gonna sort of put your brain in some sort of like a lock. My brain doesn't function so well
No.
when I'm like upset because I'm in my feelings. So the best thing to do is to sort of like laugh about it and
Yep.
then like, all right, let's get on with it,
Yep.
let's fix whatever it is that we need to fix.
Yes.
and without the stress of having some boss of yours hanging over your shoulders being really angry.
I love that. Yeah. I bet there
Mm.
is a boss really angry though in this healthcare system.
Mm.
There's gotta be somebody really angry about this.
I think there's a
Been
lot of
going
angry
on
people.
for, a little while now. So my mom just was commenting on the observations she was making while she was there, and how
Yeah.
stifled everybody felt, like they couldn't move forward, right? And I was like, that's what a retrograde is. It's like you can't move forward with your plan or your product or your business or whatever, because you're missing some details. You got to go back and find the bug in the system, right? You got to figure out where the fix needs to happen. So it's interesting because we are in the process of buying a business, and we are experiencing some challenges finding traditional funding. And so, experiencing this through a Venus retrograde, which is the planet of relationships and money and values and possessions and the things we love, right? And so when Venus goes retrograde, you're probably going to experience some financial stops or halts or hangups along the way. And we very much have been. And I was talking to my husband and our business partner, and I was like, you guys, it'll be fine. Let's just get through this weekend. Once Venus goes forward again, it'll start to flow. And I have this faith inside of me that is unwavering. Like, I just know it will work out. I just know we will figure something out. Because there's no way we would have gotten this far in the process so far, and then to have it fall apart. And B, I have immense faith in the universe and trust in all of the divine and the spirit and all of the people on the other side that are rooting for us, right? Like, I have faith in all of that energy, that there's no way they would get us this far and then go, oh, never mind, do something else. So I know the funding will work out. I know we will be creative and we will pivot and dance and, go a different path, because that's just what we do. But also that's what I feel like Venus retrograde is asking us to do. And now that she is finally going back stationary at the time of this recording, I'm very hopeful for something to turn up, something to work out. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, yeah. After a planet goes starts to retrograde, it stations direct, and then there's something called like a retroshade. So it still has the vibe of a retrograde for now I'm making it up, but I think it's about 1 to 2 weeks. And it could be depending on the planet, but it's something like that.
Yeah. So the retroshade, I had to look this up because it was driving me nuts. I was like, what is this? The retroshade is okay, how do I explain it? The point where the planet backtracks and then goes back forward over the path it was already on. So it's
makes so much sense.
Covered, right?
Okay.
So let's say Venus we're just going to make up numbers here. Let's say Venus went retrograde at 21 degrees Leo, and now she's at 8 degrees Leo. The retroshade is when she stays in 8 until 21. And then when she gets out of 21 degrees and goes to 22, then we're finally considered out of that energy.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to explain that for those who don't know, that retrograde means going backwards. So that's why the numbers for Laura explained was, it goes from, let's say 20 degrees, and then it starts going backwards. It's the retrograding, and then it stations direct, and then it starts going forward again.
And this is the normal pattern in the sky of all of the orbits that the planets do. They all make a pretty dance. You can Google this. It's really cool to see the patterns that they make. They make mandalas and just beautiful, beautiful patterns. And so each planet does its own retrograde dance. Pluto does it like half the year. Almost, Saturn does it all the time. Like it's normal for planets to do retrogrades. It's just the ones that are real close to us affect us real personally. So Mercury and Venus and Mars specifically really kind of kick our butts personally when they're in that backwards energy. So I was born with a ton of retrogrades. I have my chart up in front of me. I was born with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 retrogrades.
Any personal planets retrograde?
Mars, So it was Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, and then Ceres and Pallas Athena were both retrograde as well. So not the Mercury or Venus, but still.
And some say that if you're born with like a Mercury, when Mercury was retrograde or Venus retrograde, it doesn't go as hard on you because you're more comfortable with that energy.
Yeah. It's an energy you kind of were instilled with, is to, deal with this double checking. I always think of a retrograde as a double check. This is when you go back in the hotel room and you look again before you close it up and make sure you didn't forget a blankie or a
passport,
money, or a passport,
phone charger.
Exactly.
That's me
your
right
phone
now.
Charger. You check your make sure you have your toothbrush, right? Like retrogrades are just this double check to get the details, make sure the details, and depending on the planet, the details change. So Mercury would be your travel, your communications, and your networking, right? Your people. And then Venus is going to be really leaning into your relationships, your finances, your home, the things you value, your foundational stuff. So we were just experiencing both of those with Mercury and Venus together retrograding, but now whoosh, Venus is going back forward again.
Yeah, so now Venus is stationed direct from so like right now, the day we're recording this, or maybe the day before. And have you had any like Venus retrograde experiences that were like very clear?
I think the financial stuff for us was very, very clear as far as like which financial institution to go with, which not, or which ones to talk with and which ones to get advice from. There were some very clear ones that they were like, close that door. Like you open the door and go, oh, never mind, wrong room. Like, we experienced that because we're shopping right now. We're shopping for a lender, right? And so it's been very apparent. It feels like we're walking down a hallway filled with doors, and we open a door to see, is this the right room for the right lending? And it's like the wrong vibe, right? It's like a disco party, and and I was like, nope, never mind. That's not what we're looking for. We open the next one. It's like a more calm, chill jazz music, right? You're like, okay, let's go explore in here and see if this is the vibe we're looking for. So for us, it's really been about the business and the financial energy and what's really going to be the best path forward for us with our business. And what's interesting is this Venus retrograde is opposite my natal Venus and in the 10th house. So for me, it's very business oriented, very, career contribution to society, energy oriented. And I like that. I'm fine with that. That works just fine for me, because I want to make sure I'm making the right business choices. I want to make sure I'm leaning into the right energy of who I'm going to partner with for, these bigger numbers with buying a business that we've never played in this realm of these numbers before. So we're having to put on, our big girl and big boy pants and play with these numbers we've not experienced. So I feel like this retrograde in Leo is about being courageous for us and really doing some bold moves and making bold choices and being big, going big with this stuff. So we'll see how this plays out. But I have such a faith that it'll work out, which I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying this surrender of this solar return for me this year. You guys, if you haven't done a solar return reading, I can't explain enough how much it makes sense for the things I'm going through in my year. Yeah. I had not ever done a solar return reading until I did Deborah Silverman's school, Applied Astrology. And then one of the teachers, Nick, I'm going to give Nick a shout out from Deborah Silverman's school, a phenomenal guy. He asked me if I had done a solar return reading, and he volunteered to do one for me. And I was like, yes, hook me up. And it was so accurate. My first one was for my 40th birthday. And now this year, like, I can't even explain how much it's helping me to understand my assignment for the year with all of these planets in the 12th house of just surrender to spirit. Just put your hands up and flow with what spirit wants you to do. And I'm like, all right, here I am with my little spirit baby.
Yeah.
Floating.
No, I totally agree. Like it's it makes it so much easier to understand who you're becoming, because I feel like every year is so different. I mean, if you look back just last year, you were a different person.
Yeah.
But so we always have the astro chart DNA that we were born with, the astro chart, but somehow the flavor is different each year. And I've felt my flavor being very different. Like I really, really feel it. And then I think about my solar return chart and think, okay, this is sort of how I can see this going. Okay, I can see that thing is probably going to happen one way or another. Let's just wait and see what is the best way to use that.
Yeah.
You know, like something is going to happen in this area of my life, and just sort of waiting to see the little signals from the universe, like when to go with it.
Yep.
When to like take a step forward.
Yep.
So yeah, it makes it easier to understand yourself, because like if I didn't know this, I would think like, why am I so like this right now? What happened? Why am I becoming old? Am I becoming bored with this stuff? Why is this happening? You know, like questioning my mind and my feelings.
Yep. Or why did my interests suddenly change? Or why did the pace of my life suddenly change? And because you're in a new assignment. So you get to take your natal energy that you're born with and use that energy to do the assignment for the year. Right. So I get to take all of my air signs and all my fire signs, and I get to lean into my assignment this year, which is to surrender to all of this 12th house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things in the 12th house and 1 thing in Pisces. So I've got 9 things in Pisces energy. Guess what? I can't control shit. I have to, and then 3 things in Cancer. So like this is just
wow, so much water.
It's just a ridiculous year for me of just go with the flow, Laura, go with the flow. And then this Taurus rising is frankly driving me nuts because of how slow the flow is going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. I'm, so with the retrogrades, I think it feels even more intense of just surrender and flow. It's almost like, you know how when you look at some rivers and stuff, there's these little whirlpools in the corner where like the rocks form just right and the water kind of gets trapped in circles for a little bit. And sometimes leaves or debris or sticks can swirl around in there before they get dislodged. That's what I feel like a retrograde is for me right now. It's like I just got to swirl around for a couple weeks and then get kicked out of that little whirlpool. So you got to just go with it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had a really like a very Venus retrograde thing happen the other day. Nothing big, but it was just I heard a ping on my phone, and I looked out and I saw this name that I haven't seen in I don't know, 15 years. So this is a girl who I'm right now I'm in Greece.
Yep.
And when I was about 10 years old, I was in Greece, and I met 2 sisters that became my friends on vacation. And then they were also from Sweden, so we started hanging out. Like we lived in different towns, but we would visit each other, and we were sort of close for a couple of years. But that sort of stopped when I was maybe 14, 15, something like that. And then since then we haven't spoken. And then now I got a message from one of these sisters out of the blue, when I'm in Greece, where we met, saying just like, hi, I've been meaning to write you for 100 years. Now I am. How's it going? And this is so Venus retrograde, like people from the past pop up like Jack in the Box, like boom. And for some of you, like there will be exes, like relationships popping up, or for some it will just be, friend relationships, and yeah, just reminding us of the past. And I just laughed when I saw that. I mean, I was happy to see the message, but I was like, wow, that is so Venus retrograde for that
That's
to
really
happen.
interesting because that's when our exchange student messaged us and said she was gonna come as
I
well.
was gonna ask about
Yeah.
that.
It's been
Yes.
about a week or two since she's been like chatting with my dad, working on like airlines and airline flights and stuff. So, oh, that's so intriguing. Yes, yes. Okay.
People from
Yeah,
the
and
past coming back.
we haven't heard from her in a couple months, so if not longer. So that makes so much sense. Yeah, she was our exchange student when she was her and I were 17. We're a month apart. So now we're not 17 anymore.
Wow. And that is such a cool mix of Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde because she was traveling.
Yep.
That's how you met.
Yep.
And how I met these girls way back when was also through traveling and in the same place where I am now. And it's all just too like, it's too much to be a
That's so
coincidence. It's just,
intriguing.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I've been doing the Duolingo app, the foreign language app. I am on day 629. Thank you very much.
Well done.
And
Well
I've
done.
been doing I spoke rudimentary German for many years and then kind of let it slide. And now I've always wanted to learn Spanish. So I've been teaching myself Spanish. And then now, since obviously working with you, I'm like, well, I clearly should learn Swedish, which is a whole, you guys, if you learn Swedish, that is a really interesting language. It's definitely got some challenges for sure. And now I picked up German again. So I've been doing German, Swedish, and Spanish every night for the last, I don't know, a couple months.
I don't understand how your brain can take it. 3 languages, 3 new languages, practicing in the same night.
Yeah. I literally go from one to the other. I do my Swedish and then I succeed at that one. Like, yay, perfect lesson. And then I go to Spanish and then I go to German.
Yeah.
And
you don't mix them up?
Not usually. What I'm noticing though is patterns. My brain does patterns, and this is what I would do when I was learning astrology. I would seek out the patterns with all of my Gemini and air signs. I'm constantly seeing different patterns from a different vantage point, right? So I'm noticing the way that sentence structures are formed. I'm noticing, I don't know, just a bunch of different patterns that are similar in all 3 languages. So it's been really intriguing, and it's something I've been really wanting to do for years, is be loquacious in multiple languages. I want to be able to speak multiple languages. So yeah, 628 days consistently of foreign language studies. So I feel like I'm getting fluid in Spanish when it comes to being able to read it, but I don't speak it with anybody. So pulling the words out and speaking it in conversation is still needs to happen. So I need to find some of my Hispanic friends, and
you need to do a reading for like a Latin person and do it in Spanish.
Yes, and I have some very good friends up the road from El Salvador and Mexico. So like they're right there and I could speak with them frequently, but she's got 4 kids and I have 5. So we're just really busy.
Oh, but why don't you just bring all the kids then?
Right? I know, we need to do that. And then I need to speak more Swedish with you, but we just speak astrology. So
yeah.
And I don't know
languages.
astrology in Swedish. I haven't gotten there yet, but
yeah. I remember I was learning Spanish and then, but just for some years, and then I changed it to German, and I kept mixing those 2 languages up like in the same sentence. But that's sort of how my brain is. It's very like
merge it together.
Everything is just like a mush sometimes, and I don't know how I function sometimes in life, but I think it's just, but that is a surrendering for me. Like I know I get the information when I need it, I can pull it up, but sometimes it just gets mashed together, and it's not so easy. But that's all right.
That is all right.
That's my brain. All right. Yeah.
I figure, it's going to take me as much time as it takes to learn it. And I figure if I just keep doing it every night or every day, just get 1 lesson in. Sometimes I do 4 or 5 lessons, but I don't know. I just really want to speak multiple languages and understand multiple languages. And I was just learning about Cleopatra the other day. We were doing some homeschool stuff and the kids were watching a thing and she spoke 9 languages.
Oh
9.
my goodness.
And my brain went, what? Speak 9
If she can do that.
if she could do that before Duolingo.
Yeah.
So I was fascinated with that. And I know, obviously, my brain has a capacity to do this stuff, right? Like it can clearly do this. I can speak other language. I can speak astrology like some people speak Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? Like that's language. It is. It's an interpretation. So I obviously have the skill to do it. I mean, you do, because look at, you know English quite well and Swedish. So it should be something we can pick up. I just don't know if it's emphasized enough in our culture to speak multiple languages, right? Where in America, we just assume everyone will speak English and we don't have to learn it.
No, I think it's harder for you. I mean, for us in Sweden at least, we don't like most things on TV is in English, and especially when I was growing up, because we only watched MTV, and then everything, everything was in English. And in some countries they put a voice over, but not here. So that makes you learn really fast.
So
you
I
pick
just
it up
need to
from
put on
movies, from music.
some Spanish and Swedish and German shows and
Yeah.
put them on in the background.
No, for sure. If you start watching a TV show in Spanish or start listening to music in Spanish more, for sure, I noticed when I do that I pick up words very fast, and it's really easy because you watch people and you see what they do, and then you hear the words, and
yeah. It
it's
was
a really good way.
I do a date with each of my older kids once a week for 2 hours, and each of us is watching a different program and we do different art and stuff together. And my son and I are watching a show called Grimm on Amazon Video, Amazon Prime, and it's about the Grimm fairy tales. And one of the episodes, a lady was being a Spanish interpreter, and so she was speaking Spanish, and I was listening, and I was surprised how much of it I grasped. I was really surprised. It was the first time I'd really like listened to Spanish, right? And I was like, oh, like I understand the gist of that conversation. Did I get all of it? No, but I got a good chunk of it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I don't know how we got on this topic.
No, I was just thinking that. I don't know either.
Get back to astrology.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's get back to speaking astrology. Yeah, retrogrades.
A Mercury retrograde show. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I've been really noticing this. I knew I was going to travel during Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde season, and I knew sort of what that would mean for me. And the thing is, I have there's been a few miscommunications, not so bad. Like we haven't suffered so much, just a little bit financially. But I knew it from the beginning. Like I know I'm gonna be spending way more money than I think I will, and some of those are because of mistakes or miscommunications. And I'm just trying to not think about it and just enjoy the time and think that is coming back, because
it's a short stint.
Yeah,
it's only 3 years.
But I'm thinking, like, what can I take away from this, because it's Venus retrograde? What do I need to rethink? I haven't really landed in that yet.
I do like Venus retrograde, the one we just went through in Leo. I think for my spouse and I, we've been together for freaking ever. Forever. When you're 41 and you've been with your spouse since he's been 16, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
There's a sense of taking for granted that they'll be there, right? There's that kind of energy when there's longevity. And sometimes you forget that you still have to put energy and effort into the relationship, right? So I think for us as well, you'd asked earlier where I've seen direct influence with this Venus retrograde. I think for us, it's been really asking for our needs to be met in a different way, right? And that Leo energy of passion and heat and fire, right? Leaning into that and recognizing where there hasn't been passion or heat or fire, and where we could definitely stoke the embers a little bit more and maybe toss another log on the fire, right? So we've been talking about that as well these last few weeks of like, okay, we have 5 kids. We clearly, we wake up and they are there and they need us, and we go to bed and they need us, and it's different kids that need us. In the morning it's the little ones, and at night it's the big ones who are like teenagers that don't go to sleep. So it's there's always somebody up and needing us. And so our time, our alone time that we were initially kind of taking in the morning, that's gotten stolen, and our evening time, that's gotten stolen. So we're trying to figure out where we can lean into that passion and where we can serve each other better and where we can have date nights better. And just talking about all that, that's been a big topic for us lately, is really fueling our relationship in a better way and stoking that fire. And what do we want to do, right? Something we've been both wanting to do is dance, like take dance lessons. So taking dance lessons, whether that's at an actual dance studio or coming out here to our art studio and or my office and putting on some YouTube videos of learning how to do the samba or whatever. So that's something we've been talking about implementing as well. So it's currently hasn't happened, but we are in the talks.
Yeah, that sounds so much fun. Yeah. And I think yeah, when I think about it in through that sense, it's been a really good time also being on vacation now with my boyfriend. Like, even though we've had these hiccups with times, that they haven't really affected us because we've been very sort of aligned in just like enjoying everything. And also, like, right now I'm alone in an island. Like, we were in another island in the morning, and then we decided that he wanted to go to Athens one day earlier and I wanted to keep going to another island. And both of us are very, we used to like travel a lot by ourselves, and we like to do like adventure uh by ourselves. I think it at least for me, it builds my my self-esteem a lot. Like, I feel really good and strong when I do that, and it's been a while. So we did that, and that feels really good. Like, that feels like one of those, like a very Leo thing, like being courageous and just doing it, even though we're grown-ups and it's just Greece. But still, it's like, ooh, I'm gonna be alone in Greece and you're gonna be alone in Greece. It's just for like a day, but still it feels, yeah, it was a really good decision to, like, we went on a holiday together and then we split up a little bit and then we go back to each other. And that's, for us, the best out of two worlds. And we recognize that it's not strange for us to do that. Maybe for other couples it would be strange to go on a separate little adventure, but for us it's really perfect.
I love that so much. That makes sense,
Yeah.
especially for your chart with Leo in your 7th house, right? So
Yeah.
that's the 7th house of we, and Venus ruling Libra, which is, the 7th house energy. So leaning into that independence within the we, right? The I that resides within the we. So I love that for you. I think that's perfect energy to explore and experiment and lean into that. And I love that it builds your confidence and courage. That feels really good. I think that makes sense to be traveling alone.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've traveled alone. I've traveled with one child alone. So I've done that with each of the 3 big kids. I took Elliot on a Amtrak train ride across the country to Utah when he was 8. So him and I did that. And then I took Gertie up to Upper Michigan and for 4 or 5 days when she was 8. And then I took Gwen when she was 9. So I've done independent travel, but with a kid. Trying to think if I've done it by myself. I don't know if I've traveled. It's been since I've had kids. Before kids, I did a lot. When Philip was in the Air Force, I traveled a lot, but to visit him and stuff and to come back and forth. But man, it's been a while. Now I kind of want to.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's really, and just leaving the country for me was just such a reminder of uh that there's so much out there.
Yeah.
And uh, I needed to see that, even though, you know, the world is the way it is right now, and everything is so contradictory. Like, yeah, you shouldn't fly, but at the same time, I need to experience this life and this world, and just finding a balance, you know, not just doing it so extensively, and but enjoying it while you do it.
Well, so I'm listening to a book right now, and everybody should listen to it. It's phenomenal. It's by Gabrielle Bernstein, called Super Attractor. And I actually listened to it, and then I quickly listened to it again. I'm on the second listen because it was one of those like, oh, I need this information like pounded into my head. This is good. And it's definitely the way I live. So she's not telling me anything particularly new, but she's reinforcing what I need to strengthen and keep practicing, right? And one of the things she talks about, I think it's in chapter 4 or 5, she talks about living in joy and how you cannot manifest from a place of scarcity or fear. Like you can't. There's no way that the universe is supporting scarcity and fear in manifesting positivity, right? Like it just doesn't, the energies don't line up. So joy and appreciation and empowerment from Abraham Hicks emotional guidance scale is the top energy of really manifesting. And when you travel, there's typically some joy, there's typically appreciation, there's typically empowerment and freedom, and a love that develops for another culture, another country, another people, right? And then the second emotion right after that is passion. Well, like these are the things that we experience through travel. The next one after that is enthusiasm and eagerness and happiness. Like these are all emotions that really kind of bubble up to the surface when we are in this state of travel and happiness and seeking, right? And I love that because it's you almost like realigning your energies and getting into that manifestation power and getting into that energy of attraction. And you do it so well through travel with all your Sagittarius placements, right? Like you've got so many houses and a couple planets in Sagittarius. So for you, travel is really a big part of your joy and your appreciation and passion and enthusiasm. But it's the energy of attraction that really comes to you when you're in that frequency. You guys, if you have not listened to this book or read this book, do it. Super Attractor. Super Attractor is super good. And it's really helping me to lean into, am I in joy while I'm doing this thing? Is this fun? And if it's not, how can I make it fun? Can I put some music on and dance around? You should have seen me with some Latin music on the other day. The kids left the house and my mom took them, and I turned on some salsa and I was cleaning the kitchen and I was wiggling and shaking my tatas around, and I was
It makes you so happy.
Girl, my husband came in. He was like, what's going on? I was like, the kids are gone and I am living in joy while I clean this damn house.
Yeah.
So
And that's such a fast way, I feel like, to turn the energy around, to put on music and start moving, and suddenly you can't help but to feel happiness, joy.
Absolutely. So one of the things in the book, when I was clipping picking grapes and pears yesterday while I was listening to this, and she's talking about doing the things that really bring you out of the negative feelings of disappointment and overwhelm, which I frequently feel overwhelmed. That's kind of where I'm living a lot of my life right now. And I have to remind myself that I manifested all of this, right? My passion and enthusiasm manifested the overwhelm that is my life right now. And finding the positivity and the optimism in there is definitely my goal. But you don't just jump, right? You don't just go from worry or anger to automatic positivity. You have to kind of climb up the scale. And you guys can look up this Abraham Hicks emotional guidance scale. It's phenomenal. I've used it in a lot of my coaching sessions as well. But she just Gabby reminded me of it as well. But you don't just jump. You have to climb the ladder back up, right? And music is a phenomenal way to climb that ladder quite quickly. So maybe Latin music wouldn't have done it for me if I was in too dark of a place, right? Maybe I would have needed some more chill, calm music to cry first, right? And get some emotions out and then go up to the
More like
happiness.
find safety.
Yes.
Start feeling safe.
Yep. So, you know, you can't just skip over stuff and gloss over it and be, oh, I'm positive now. I'm happy now. You definitely have to work your way through the system, through the steps of the emotions. But man, music can sure like slingshot you pretty damn fast. And there's something about that, that spicy Latin music that my body is, I love it.
and if you can sense where in your body, like what chakra that is not totally aligned, that maybe it's, you know, your root chakra or your throat chakra, then you can pair them up with the planet, the astrology, to sort of more find how to go about, or like what is the theme. Because if it's your root chakra, that would be Pluto, right? Like safety, like, you know, that very deep stuff. If it's your throat chakra, it would be
Mercury.
Yeah. And sacral chakra, I would guess, is the sun, your identity. So because sometimes
I was thinking Mars. I've got so many planets in Libra, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, and Pallas Athena, and I'm thinking for me, Libra is balance, a harmony, right? And it's all in my 5th house, children and fun and play. And it's so heavy with children, and then when they leave, and my mom takes them for the day, I have to like balance those scales a little bit, right? So Mars is so much in your body, right? It's the physical being. So for me, I needed to get my physical body into harmony. And man, I was rocking. My boobies were shaking. My butt was shaking. I was getting it all. All the chakras were getting into alignment. Except I wasn't singing. That was quiet. Because I don't need to open my throat chakra when the kids are gone. I need to close. That's always open.
That's
I'm constantly having to speak
wide open
or tell them what to do, or you know, there's my throat chakra is always going. So when they left, and I could just be in my body and wiggle and not have to tell someone what to do, not have to ask them to change the litter box or whatever, right? It felt so nice to just be able to be quiet.
Because you have that, like a lot of air signs, you have that Gemini, that really you have this need to communicate, so you do that without someone having to push you to do it. So the throat chakra for you is not like something that you need to work on, but that is a very interesting thing for everyone who's listening to think about. If you have this reoccurring theme with which chakra is the one that seems to be closed or seems to be not balanced, or you know, you might have pains around there, you might have some other stuff going on that is related to that, and then you can pair it with the planet, and that might give you a wider perspective of how to work with it.
I love it.
What's going on.
I love that. That makes so much sense. And if you're, you know, an earth dominant person and don't have a lot of air signs, maybe you do need to work on opening your throat chakra more, right? Maybe that's something that would work for you, is when your situation changes, maybe your kids are gone or you're not at work or whatever the thing is, maybe you need to sing really loud, right? Turn on some music that really has you just belting it really loud, even if you're a terrible singer, right? Let it out. And maybe that's your energy that needs to come out. For me, it's physically moving and not being the speaking or the singing, not being in that chakra, but being more in my physical body. So I love that.
Sorry, I lost you for a bit. Now I'm back.
Oh, you're back. So I love that. I'm actually working with a couple clients right now doing some astro health coaching and leaning into my decade before I did astrology. I did health coaching. And so now I'm really merging the two tremendously. And it's been so much fun as a really help people unpack their chart utilizing, you know, the astrology, and then applying it to their health, applying it to their well-being in all the different levels. And it's been such a blast to be able to do that for people and helping them find what they need for self-care, what they need to fill their bucket, what they need to work on physically or emotionally. So I'm really enjoying these new clients that I'm working with and digging into the astrology of their health and well-being. It's been so much fun. So we're playing around with that and exploring all of the energies of the charts, and also utilizing these retrogrades for sure to make sure that people are understanding the energy of the backwards cycle and not to be too worked up or, you know, get too emotionally tied into why something isn't working or why something is. So yeah, retrogrades are definitely a time for us to really just take note of what's going on. You know, we're in a Saturn retrograde as well, and a Pluto retrograde at the moment too. So there's a lot of energy of let's reevaluate. Let's reevaluate. So
Yeah.
we can learn a lot from these retrogrades, and we can surrender to them, and we don't have to get upset or worked up, unless of course you're the hospital system by me where your computers crash.
Yeah.
Then you can
Yeah.
get
And don't be, I think right now, yeah, there's a lot of retrogrades, but you don't need to think too much about the outer planets being retrograde, more than that if you have a direct aspect to any of them, then they will just take longer to leave, because they will go back
right.
over that aspect, like keep going back and forth when it's in retrograde, and hit you multiple times like Philip.
Yep.
And that's sort of what the outer planets do. But yeah, when Mercury, Mars, or Venus is in retrograde, or is retrograde, then that's when it's good to remember that you need just a little bit more compassion for yourself and for everyone around you, and just let it flow.
For sure. I love that. A little bit more compassion. I love that. You know, if every human on this planet, every one of us 8 billion people, just had just a smidgen more compassion and just a smidgen more surrender, I feel like our frequency of the whole planet could just jump a little bit, right? Just surrender a smidge,
Yeah.
and a little bit more compassion for your fellow whoever, right? Just
Imagine if they would put it on the news, like on the weather report, like, okay, so today 22 degrees and this and that, and also today Venus stations direct, or like Venus will now.
Can we do that? Can we get the news stations to put the astro news?
Please, it would be amazing. So everyone was like, oh, did you see on the news? Mercury is retrograde right now. Oh, okay, that's why it's been like this today. Oh, I see. Okay, how long is it gonna go on? 2 weeks. Okay, great.
Girl, you don't even know what you just did to my brain.
Imagine. I don't think it's too far off. I don't think we're too far away from
No,
that
not with
being
Pluto
a
moving
reality.
to Aquarius in January. That's very doable.
Yeah.
That's totally weird enough.
Yeah.
That's a Pluto Aquarius thing. Maybe in the next 20 years, when as Pluto makes his trek through Aquarius, maybe we will have that.
Yeah, I think astrology will be spoken by so many more. Like, I mean, it's been booming for a while. I think it's going to keep just booming and becoming part of everyday conversations, just on another level.
Well, this is my plan. So I'm a shameless plug here. The Cosmic Mama Collective is up and running. and if you would like to learn to reparent yourself or learn how to parent better, come and join. And this is where we have these conversations. This is where we learn to use this language in normal everyday functioning, where you can talk to your child and be like, hey, your Mars in Aries really needs some activity. Please go outside and get some exercise right now. Like you need to go outside. You're getting heated. I can feel you. You're arguing with us. Go run around and burn that energy. And I literally, that was a sentence that was used 2 days ago.
Yeah.
This is how I parent. So, I can't even tell you enough how much I crave that, right? I crave having these intellectual astrological conversations with people, especially when it comes to health, healing, parenting, reparenting, just taking care of yourself in a better way, because so many of us are trying to raise children in a way we want them to be and not in a way that works with them. And so many of us are trying to be a person that our parents wanted us to be and not really what works for us. So my goal is just everybody lives in their birth chart will be fine. If everyone just lives in the energy that they are gifted with and really works on that, we'll all be great. We just have to stop trying to be someone else.
Stop that chain of shame, because that is what happens, I think, when you're a kid and you notice that society or your parents want you to do something and you just can't do it because that's not you, and then you feel ashamed. You feel shame because you can't live up to those standards, and then you keep when you have kids, you continue that because you remember the feeling of not being like the others, so you feel like, oh, now your kid has to be like the others. If not, then you're gonna feel bad like I did. But what you're doing is you're continuing the shame chain.
I just wrote that down. I'm going to use that for my advertising. Stop the chain of shame. Thank you, Helena.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting though, because my kids, I can see that I've stopped cycles because whenever I do some stuff from generational, crap, and it comes out in passive aggressiveness. Whenever it comes out, my kids will go, "Whoa, that was gross. Why'd you say it like that?" I'm like, "Oh man, they're calling me on my
Well
shit."
done on them for actually for saying that. Yeah.
They do. They catch me, and
that's great.
And they both, Elliot and Gertie, now they're 14 and almost 12, and they will be like, "Ew, mama, that was gross. Why did you say it like that?" And I'm like, "Oh,
thank you."
Because I'm angry and I'm upset, and I probably should have handled that better, but I didn't want to do it any other way. Like, I don't even know what to say when they catch me on it.
When they
I kind of,
that's so amazing that
I
you
feel
really
like a kid with my hand caught in the cookie jar, where I'm like, I know.
And then you're supposed to be the parent, but it's amazing that you as a parent can then it doesn't have to be hierarchical in that kind of way.
Yep.
Yeah, in that kind of way, like it's okay for a parent to lose face or to be wrong or to regret something and take it back and apologize.
Absolutely. And that is the healing. That is the generational healing. That is the Cosmic Mama Collective lesson that I want to teach others, is to humble yourself and realize you're not the teacher. The children are the teachers. They are here to teach us how to be better humans.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And my kids are calling me on my shit, and I thank them for it, but in the moment, I don't like it.
Yeah, and then you have five teachers then.
My Mars in the 5th house gets a little like bristly. My hackles go up, and I'm like, I don't like that. They don't care. They don't care that I don't like that, because they know that the way I approached that was not healthy, and I could definitely do it in a different way, and I could definitely communicate better. And they know I can, because I normally do. But when I'm being passive aggressive, it's usually because there's underlying needs that are not being met, or there's underlying resentments building up.
That's it. I was going to say, like, when it's passive aggressive, when it's passive aggressiveness, when that comes out, it's almost like this little demon inside of you. Like, you're not aware of it. That's how it comes out. Like those things that you don't really think about. You're like, oh, where is that hurt in me that made me say that like that?
Yep.
Where is the pain? Yeah.
Yeah. Or they'll say something like, "You sounded like your mother." And I'm like, oh.
That is like, sticking the finger in like a fresh wound, like.
And I mean, we love their grandma, and I love my mom. But we all know we all have our shit, right? And man, that's the button. So the Cosmic Mama Collective is this membership where it's something I have been seeking and craving so much, to have a safe place for me to put my shit, right? My real life parenting garbage, and to share it with others and to learn about others and how they're doing it, and to speak this language of astrology and learn how to use it in daily life, how to apply it to my relationship with my spouse, how to apply it to my healing of myself, and then how to help my children understand themselves better. You know, when you've got a kid with an Aries moon, they need to know that they have an Aries moon. They need to know that they get heated really fast and that they will get physical, and hitting or kicking or throwing things may be an issue, and that even at 11 they might not know why, right? Like they need to know these things, and not to feel bad about it, but to recognize, oh, here's that time again. Oh, here's that thing again. Oh, here's that thing again. And be able to channel it into something healthier. Hit the pillow, go outside and kick a tree, right? Like do something, not throwing something at your sister, or, you know, grabbing something out of their hand forcibly, right? So this is why I've formed this collective. So if this is something that resonates with you, come and join.
And how do they do that?
They join from the link in the show notes we're going to put in there.
Amazing.
And they can check it out and join. And I have, I'm starting to do monthly classes. We're doing on once a month on Wednesday nights. I'm doing an Astro Teen Talk. So we're just going to get together and chat about our teenagers and what's working for you and what's not working for you, and what's frustrating you about your teenager, or what is your teenager frustrated with. And then once a month on Saturday nights, this is all in the calendar in the group. I'm doing a parent party, a parent party with the stars. So we're just going to get together. You bring your wine or your weed or whatever works for you. I don't care. And come and chat on Zoom and just hang out with other parents. And let's have a discussion on all things parenting.
Sounds amazing.
In 2023, and the ridiculousness of what that looks like. And and the fun times and the not so fun times. So we'll be doing those monthly, and I'll be adding different classes, having different speakers. Anna with human design will be on, and Zoriana, who we've had on the show. Have we had Zoriana on the show?
Yeah.
And she'll be coming on to do hypnosis. And I've got Ivy, who is a self-love and light whisperer, and she's an amazing personal development healing coach. She'll be coming on. So I can't wait to have this grow more and more and more. I'm still in my Taurus rising solar return, so I have to go slow and steady.
Yeah.
But it'll grow. It'll grow. So come and join the collective and learn about yourself. And like I said, you don't have to be a mama. You can be a mama of a fur child, or just learn to remother yourself. That's a thing too. Come and join. I'd love to have you. Ta-da.
Amazing.
Oh, it was nice chatting with you from Greece today.
Likewise. It feels I'm in a different universe right now, like in a different realm. And with all the retrogrades, Venus and Mercury, I'm collecting my thoughts over here and bringing back some things that I want to change. And also with retrogrades, like now, there's been a lot of things I've been thinking about during the retrograde seasons.
Okay.
And I've been like feeling that I want to change it now, but don't do it during the retrograde. Wait for the retroshade to be over, then take action. Like I am, like my fingers are itchy. Like it's itching because I want to do these things, but I have to keep reminding myself, take it slow, think about it one more time. Yeah. Maybe twice more, and then take action. So for everyone out there, don't do anything yet with these amazing ideas that you have now got from the retrogrades. Wait a little bit longer. Unless, and then take your steps.
It's been, especially with Virgo, if it's cleaning and organizing, by all means, go ahead.
Yes, by all means.
In the last couple days, I have completely purged our basement. I have reorganized. I put a new shelf down there. We redid all of our pantry and canned goods and all of our like dry good items. And that feels amazing. And then from the basement organization, we then were able to redo the pantry and the kitchen and move stuff down there and have a place for it. So now that the pantry and the kitchen is reorganized, I'm able to redo the cabinets and get things better organized and flowing better there. So that's been, it's literally like one thing to another. It's kind of this flow state of cleanliness and organizing of my home. And my Virgo happens to be in my 4th house. So that makes so much sense. It's kind of ridiculous. So I've been cleaning and organizing my home and resetting my home during this Mercury retrograde, which I love. Like I'm just, enjoying that energy. So wherever Virgo is for you, that might be an energy to check into, because if it's in your 4th house like me, go ahead and clean your house. Go ahead, do that. But if it's in your 10th house, maybe you need to reorganize your work or your career or your office, right? Maybe you need to redo your computer desktop or clean up some stuff or purge some files, or heaven forbid you clean out your emails. Oh my God. How many emails do you have in your inbox? I have too many.
Thousands. Yeah, thousands.
I got mine down to 4,000 and now I looked and it's up to 6,200. And I was like, come on. Like,
all of those subscriptions.
Yep, I know. So we're working on that stuff too, but that's how we've been using our retrograde here, and it feels really good, really good. So I'm so excited for you to get back and have some safe travels to get back from Greece. But I love that you're in Greece, which is, I don't want to say it's the birthplace of astrology, but it's definitely one of the founding spots.
It is. Oh my gosh, it is. Yep. So I just walked past a perfect replica of Venus of Milo the other day, and I just keep thinking about those connections about astrology and Greece and their mythology, and Athena, and like everything is so tied together, and I want to learn more about it. Like I don't know much about the history, but it's just I'm in that space and I'm feeling all of that, and it's just an amazing vibe here.
That is cool. We'll have to have my son Elliot on the show. He is a connoisseur of Greek mythology and has been for many years. And so whenever I have a question about which Greek god was the Roman god, because that's where the astrology names come from. So we always say Pallas Athena. If you look at the chart, it'll say Pallas. Athena is the Greek name for Pallas, and Pallas is her Roman name. So that's why I put the two together, because I always know her as Athena. But if you ever need that help, we'll have Elliot on the show and he can help us convert the Greek gods. But it is fascinating mythology. It's fascinating and very strange mythology as well. So we'll have to do a whole show on that. That'd be fun. Yeah. I love that. Well, thanks for listening today, everybody, and tuning in to our random brain chat here.
Whirlpool of thoughts.
That's what you get during retrogrades. You get a whirlpool of thoughts. That's phenomenal. Well, thank you so much. And again, if you like what we do, and if you're tuning into our random weirdness and chaos, and you like it and you want to support us, you can buy us a tea or a coffee that financially supports the show. And again, thank you to Shannon and Cassandra for your support of our show by buying us some tea. And we can't thank you enough. It's just phenomenal to have people listening to our ridiculous content. I love it. I love it so much. So much Aquariusness comes out in us. It's so fun. So thank you, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of RamGoatAstrology. You can support the show by buying us a coffee or a tea. Link in the show notes. Your financial support means the world to us. Join us next time.